James, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I'll start, Seth. Congrats on being drafted. How much contact, if any, did you have with the Colts throughout the pre-draft process? And secondly, what do you think you can bring to an NFL team?
Yeah, no, the communication definitely picked up a lot here recently. The closer we got to it, I had connections with the running back coach. Ever since a couple years ago when he was at Texas Tech. We were trying to make it work there. And but nah, man, I'm just excited. I'm excited to prove everybody wrong. I'm excited to show everything that I could do, everything I've been doing my whole life, which is overcoming adversity and disproving people who label me as the underdog. And I'm just ready. I'm an electric bag. I'm a playmaker. And I'm a guy that can contribute on all levels to any offensive system. So I'm just so blessed to be a coach.
Joel, go ahead.
When you say proving people wrong, what are you thinking of?
I don't know. I feel like, just saying, definitely slept on. This is definitely, going this late in the draft was definitely unanticipated, by many teams. But like I said, everything happens for a reason. And I'm just ready to make everybody pay that didn't pick me.
Steven.
Hey Seth, what was your message to teams when they asked about your history? You had the issues a few years ago. What did you tell them to kind of give them some comfort about the person you are now?
I just wanted them to know that that's never who I was and who I've been my entire life. Like, I've always been a staple in my community. I've always believed in leading the youth, guiding the youth, being a prime example of hard work and dedication. And I had a brief season in my life where unfortunately, I got away from that and it cost me everything. But you know, ever since that day, I've done everything that I can with every fiber in my body to prove that that's not who I am. And that I'll continue to be myself and the values that I've instilled in myself since a very young age. And to trust in the relationships that I built along the way, and to know that they can trust those people and trust me as well.
James.
Seth, along those lines, do you think that's why you didn't go as high as perhaps you thought you could?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Which is, obviously it's okay, that's understandable. Like I said, I'm not a person that's gonna, hold any grudge or sit and pout about it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm a what's next kind of guy, so I'm just ready to show up and work. And like I said, help this football team get to a Super Bowl.
Abby, go ahead.
Seth, congratulations. You're joining a running back room that is headed by Jonathan Taylor, who has been an elite back the last few years. What is an element of his game that you admire and hope to learn from?
I definitely think he has a great pace. I think he obviously has a great feel for tempo and sifting his way through the defense, and it'll just be good to learn from a back that's been that productive for as long as he has. And I'm looking forward to getting in the room with him.
Jake.
Along those lines, obviously, Jonathan Taylor, one of the marquee backs in the league. The Colts also spent a decent pick on DJ Giddens last year. What do you tell yourself when you go into a situation like that, where you want to kind of make a mark for yourself, but at the same time, like maybe you have to be a little patient? Like, how do you kind of approach that?
I'm a full head of steam kind of guy. I really only know one speed, and that's full speed. So I am coming in to compete. I am coming in to make my spot. And I'm a guy that I pride myself in being a great teammate at the same time. Like, I enjoy getting each other better and healthy competition. And so it's just the balance between those two things.
And you mentioned you had a relationship with Coach Smith already. Like, what kind of expectations has he laid out for you, at least initially?
Oh yeah, I mean he knows what I'm coming to do. He knows I'm coming to work. He knows I'm coming to produce. He knows I'm a ball player. So, you know, we had a relationship in recruiting a couple years ago, and I'm just thankful that's continued, and he's already gotten a chance to know who I am as a person, and I'm thankful that he was in that building to box for me today.
Just a few more, Nathan.
After you spoke a little bit earlier about, after your missteps 5 years ago, trying to work back toward a goal like this, what helped get you back on the right path? I know not everyone would be able to recover from that and, come back and be drafted in the NFL. What helped you get back on track and set your eyes forward to trying to complete your dreams on making it to the NFL?
Yeah, first and foremost, obviously my relationship with God is, an extreme part of my life, and that's that I believe that's my primary guidance, just in all decision making and all my thought processes. And so, knowing the opportunity and the blessings that He's given me, prior to even, after the incident, is something that I just constantly use to motivate me and never take for granted. You know what I'm saying? You never know how little an opportunity can impact your future, down the road. And so just leaning on the people that's always believed in me my whole life, and the people that I've held closest to me is something that definitely fueled me along the way.
Kevin.
Congrats, Seth. So following the arrest, could you walk us through school-wise that kind of led to UK there to round out your I guess like 5-stop career, if I have it right?
Yes, sir. So yeah, I mean, at one point, I was unfortunately wasn't able to get into a junior college. And I ended up taking that following season off. And then because of that, I was actually communicating with the University of Oregon at the time, and ended up getting directed to a buddy of his, the running back coach, who became the head coach at this NAIA in East Texas called Texas College. And so following 2 semesters there, I didn't feel like it was time to re-recruit myself coming out of junior college. So that's when I ended up making my way to Butler. Did 1 semester there, and unfortunately had to go, handle more of that situation back in 2021. But fortunately from there was able to get a spot at New Mexico State. And then from there, obviously made a decision to go on to Kentucky and get back where I started.
We'll go with Jake, and then Joel will be our last question.
Yes, Seth, speaking of Kentucky, the Colts drafted Jalen Farmer earlier today. What can you tell us about him as a player? Like, what are the Colts getting in him, and how much does that help, I guess, both of you just with a comfort level?
Yeah. Now, me and him are just alike. You know what I'm saying? We both dogs, and that's a word that people throw around nowadays. But we both truly dudes that kind of got it out the mud kind of dudes, and so we coming to work every day. We enjoy ourselves, off the field, just so far as joking around and stuff like that. But when we're in the building, it's all business, and it's something that we don't take lightly. And so I'm excited to be there with him and have a like-minded individual like that.
And then Joel, last question.
You mentioned your faith. Did you come to faith after the incident, or was the incident sort of a catalyst to bring you back to God?
I definitely think both. I definitely think it was an instance of both. I've always known. I just knew it just became more of like you said, like a catalyst, more of an immediacy of something that you can't ever put on your back burner, and definitely something that has to be at the priority of your life and at the front of your ship. And if you, as long as you do that, you'll never be sailed wrong.